One of the great things about getting to be Jewish is you can say these Jewish jokes. If anybody else told them, they'd be anti-Semitic. So my favorite one goes like this. What is it that you Jews always respond to a question with a question? Why do you ask? And so it is tonight that I'd like to begin with asking a question. Why is the immigration crisis, why is the refugee crisis a religious problem? Because our faith traditions forbid us from being indifferent to the pain of others, forbid us from standing idly by while our neighbor bleeds, forbid us to ignore the plea of the widow and the orphan. It is a religious problem because our sacred texts command us to feed the hungry, clothe the naked, free the oppressed, pursue justice, and always defend the stranger, having ourselves been strangers in the land of Egypt. There is a universal religious imperative here, not only because we Jews know what it means to be stateless, homeless, powerless, and helpless. We have long acknowledged that we Jews are people of immigrants, and as Americans, we are a nation of immigrants. So why do we have so much trouble taking the next step to say that we are also a people of refugees? Jacob, our father, later to be known as Israel, was a refugee. Was it not the fear of vengeance and violence that sent him fleeing into the desert with barely more than a shirt on his back? He didn't flee Canaan because he planned to. He freed Canaan because he had to. When Moses, our teacher, had to run from Egypt after killing a taskmaster in defense of a slave, he didn't flee Egypt because he planned to. He left Egypt because he had to. The warrior and poet who would eventually become King David ran to the Philistines of all people to escape the wrath and madness of Israel's ruler, King Saul. He didn't flee from home because he planned to. He fled for his life because he had to. If what defines a refugee is that if you stay home you'll be killed, then all these men meet the definition. If what defines being a refugee is that you'll die of hunger or disease if you stay where you are, then Ruth and Naomi are refugees. If what defines being a refugee is that someone's political or religious views have resulted in threats of assassination from a nation's rulers, then Prophet Elijah was a refugee. The Holy Family that we heard about earlier, the man our Christian brothers and sisters called Jesus of Nazareth, and his parents, Joseph and Mary, were refugees. The man that our Muslim brothers and sisters called Muhammad had to flee religious and political oppression in his homeland for safety elsewhere. He was a refugee. And if biblical history isn't enough to convince people, then perhaps the Jewish experience during the Middle Ages, or what the world has been through in the first half of the 20th century, will cast a less ancient light on the question of why. Why is this a religious problem? Why is a worldwide refugee crisis such a theological matter for people of faith? While some people vow to build a wall, let us tonight resolve to build a bridge. Together, we will go through that